I am super excited for this portion. All great stuff. Thank you, Lisa. I feel like something that I've been hearing a lot throughout the last 7 months of being in my role is getting to hear personal anecdotes from other folks that have, been mentors previously, especially if you're a new mentor, getting some of that feedback and insight. But also, even if you have been a mentor previously, getting that insight of how other people kind of run their show, just to offer some new perspective and feedback. So with that, I will be asking Mel Sullivan from Ecumen a couple of questions. So Mel, if you don't mind just briefly introducing yourself and what made you sign up to be a mentor again this year.
Absolutely. And thank you, by the way, to all of you and your team for the great organization and the support that you provide. That's also really, really helpful. So hello, everyone. I was looking at all the great people that are on this call. My name is Mel Sullivan. I am the Chief People Officer at Acumen, which is a senior housing and senior services organization, healthcare services. And I've been in healthcare for about 30 years. I taught at the U for 5 and really value this college and the work that this group does to help inspire our youngest healthcare leaders to want to be in healthcare. And what's really fascinating is the tale of the work that this group does and how many of the young individuals that you have helped support along the way are now in healthcare, doing this work in the Twin Cities and across the country. So it's really inspiring. So thanks for asking me to just talk a little bit, but looking at the list of people that are on this group, I think all of you probably have a pretty good idea about how to how to be amazing mentors yourself.
Our first question for you is, how did you go about goal setting with your mentee last year? I know that this is something that comes up quite frequently, especially with that first document of our goals and agreements form. So how did that conversation kind of go, and how did you determine what those goals would be?
It went really well, but it was mostly set on my former mentor, who I'm still connected with, what she really was hoping to achieve out of the time that we spent together, and not they have a lot of goals across their work with school. This is really more, what do they want to do from a personal perspective, and how is it that they want to show up in whatever career that they're choosing. It doesn't have to be healthcare. Mine just happens to be healthcare. What is their aspirations? And that really helped inform the goals around, who do you want to meet? What do you want to learn? And how can I be of the most support to you so that you can get as much information in this time frame as possible, so you can make an informed choice about what you want to contribute to in the future.
Our next question, I think you've kind of hit a little bit on here, but what are 1 or 2 things that you did during your mentoring relationship that you found helpful or meaningful?
One, just being curious and asking the question. And the other thing is staying flexible. My particular mentee, who is a really remarkable human, also had some personal issues during the time that some personal health issues and some other personal things that happened during the time that we were mentoring. I directed her back to this group to help get her the support that she needed. But in addition, just giving her that grace that if it didn't work out, or if there was something else going on, this was not the most important thing to be doing at that particular moment. And that well-being and a whole person focus was actually really the most important thing she could do for herself at that time. And I think that's the other thing, that all of you who look at all the healthcare leaders, and there's all different kinds of people in here, but it's really more about, for me, about looking at that individual as a person trying to do the best they can, and how can we support them with all that component of how do you do your work and stay healthy and stay engaged and stay motivated to continue to do it, because they're young and they haven't necessarily had some of the pressures that each of you have experienced. And so it's talking about some of those things too.
Thank you, Mel. And I feel like you kind of like just lean into this point, right, of holistic well-being and focusing on not only the student, but also what your needs might be too as a mentor, and finding ways to support each other to a certain regard of, okay, maybe you have a very busy like work week or just time of season, right? And having that grace with each other is just super important. But again, leading into that communication point, you wouldn't have known the circumstances of your student if she wasn't willing and able to share that information with you.
Right. Or just if because at times at least as a professional too, you can get frustrated, and it was just like asking a question about how's it working for you as well. I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad I got a chance to match again this year too.
We're
I
lucky.
learned a lot.
Talking about being back for this year, what is something that you would have wished to have done last year, or what new things are you bringing into this new academic year?
Um, what my personal thing is that whole like we've heard about some of the burnout across all sectors of work, and about how do we engage people to be inspired to do the things that we can help them with. That's really what I'm focused on this year a lot more, is what is it that you're interested in, and how do you stay inspired, and how can I help support that? I also encourage, which all of you, like, because you're all here, and I can't say thank you enough for your willingness to invest in these young professionals, but it's really about how do you do that too? Because I think from when they ask me, when my mentee asks me questions and about, well, what do you do? It's kind of an accountability partner to a certain extent. It's like all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, well, I better go for a walk or a run or whatever the case might be.
Perfect. And then last question for you. What advice would you give to somebody going into their first mentorship relationship this year?
I saw that we have quite a few first timers, and again, just thank you for saying yes. I would say just to be patient and stay curious, because sometimes these young, I think you guys had mentioned, I think Lisa actually commented on it about like emails and professionalism, and they just really are exploring some of this. They're relatively young, so it's not like they're working for you. They're trying to learn from you, and you're trying to learn from them. And so setting that stage early on always helps, I think. So that's one thing I'm going to try to hopefully replicate. That worked well last time, and I hope that it continues this time as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mel, for one, just being here again, and two, taking the time to let me bug you and ask you some questions. And I hope that this was insightful for all of our folks here today, because I know I've learned a lot just in the last couple of minutes from you.
Thank you. Thanks for asking.